אבותינו, בימים ההם במחזה. על הניסים, על הגבורה, ועל הגבורות, ועל השורות, שעשיתם אבותינו, בימים ההם במחזה.
על הניסים ועל הפורקן ועל הגבורות ועל התשורות ועל המלחמות שעשית לאבותינו בימים ההם בזמן הזה.
על הניסים ועל הפורקן ועל הגבורות ועל התשורות ועל המלחמות שעשית לאבותינו בימים ההם בזמן הזה.
Come in and be welcomed, all souls. Let there be joy in our coming together. Let there be hope found in our collective strength. Let our hearts be lightened and our voices lifted in song and praise. It is in this spirit that we gather and we invite the Finlinson-Metzler family to kindle the flame of our chalice.
For millennia, the fire has been in the center of human communities.
Our ancestors used to gather around it.
Today, we are assembling around this flame to renew our community.
May the flame of our chalice make this community warmer and stronger.
Good morning, all. I would like to point out that today's rendition of the opening hymn, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple," includes verses not in our hymn book. These verses are original lyrics written by Elder Joseph Brackett. Please stay muted and sing this beautiful American tune with us.
Tis a gift to be simple, tis a gift to be free, tis a gift to come down where we want to be. And when we find ourselves in a place just right, to be in a valley of love and delight, when true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed to turn, will be our delight, and by turning, we come round right. 'Tis a gift to be loved.
gift to me.
Tis a gift to think of others
As you only think of me.
And when we hear what others really think and really feel, then we'll all live together with a love that is real. Then we'll all live together with a love that is real.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Zitelli, and I'm your worship associate this morning. Welcome to All Souls Church. Since 1821, the members of this church have been walking and rolling together toward an important place, a place that Martin Luther King Jr. called the beloved community. With joy and determination, we journey together, regardless of where you began your journey, how much or how little you carry with you, or with whom you choose to hold hands along the way. We are all going there to lend our hands to the creation of a diverse, justice-seeking, spirit-growing community that is true to the dream of all souls. We invite you to join us on this grand adventure. We acknowledge that the physical building of All Souls sits on the ancestral homelands of the Piscataway Conoy tribe, whose existence predates All Souls Church. So, for members of All Souls, welcome. For those of you visiting us for the first time, welcome. For those of you who make up our virtual church or watching this later on a recording, we are glad that you are here. If we were in the sanctuary, we would turn and physically greet each other. We can still do that, only in a ritual which we are calling beholding. We invite you to remain on mute, but just scroll through the gallery of faces. Turn your own camera on, even if you're in your pajamas. Express gratitude for one another in the chat and for being able to safely see each other while listening to music.
You got your phone on speaker.
Good morning.
Good morning, friends. Good morning. My name is Tony Coleman, and I serve as All Souls Minister of Adult Spiritual Development. I come bearing news about the life of our community. First, a reminder that we offer religious education for children and youth every Sunday, beginning at 9:30 a.m. In addition to that, other activities are planned and can be found on the church's website and in the e-newsletter. We also have many offerings from our incredible Adult Spiritual Development Committee. We're making this December a time for soul sustenance, joy, and nourishment. There are offerings to explore the power of poetry, ways to center your body and mind, opportunities to become better acquainted with others in our community and also with yourself. All these offerings are free and available without having to register. So we encourage you to check out the Adult Spiritual Development page on the All Souls website. Looking ahead, we're very excited to share a little bit about the many ways that All Souls is celebrating the winter holidays and observances this year. We first want to remind you of the Solstice Stroll. It'll be held next Sunday, December 20th from 2 to 5 p.m. In anticipation of the longest night of the year, we invite you to join us for a time of in-person community on the outdoor grounds of the church. The meditation labyrinth will be open at noon, and then from 2 to 5, you can join us for a night and lights tableau, a luminary walk, live music with jazz combo, and a bonfire. The event will conclude with a solstice blessing of community and sanctuary at 5:02 p.m., exactly 12 hours before the winter solstice. This all ages event is free and socially distanced, and per DC COVID guidelines, registration is required. So please register for one of the hour-long time slots. A few days later, we will have 2 Christmas Eve services. The 7 p.m. service will include the Christmas pageant, and the 10 o'clock service will be the traditional lessons and carols. The links to both services will be on the homepage of the website. In addition to these services, All Souls has a whole host of other ways for you to observe Christmas and other winter holidays, including a drop-in covenant group on ritual and song with Rose and Reverend Louise. You can donate toys to support some of our community partners. There's a holiday ornament exchange, and you can find details for all of these opportunities on the All Souls website. So now I invite you to turn with me to a time of prayer and meditation as we name the joys and sorrows of our community. First, we joyfully hold in prayer all who are in the midst of the Jewish celebration of Hanukkah right now. We also celebrate alongside all those who marked Bodhi Day this past week and all those who are observing the third Sunday of Advent in the Christian calendar. And just as we make space to hold celebration, let us also make space to hold sorrow and concern. This morning, we are holding Perry Roper, who was recently diagnosed with COVID-19. His symptoms are mild, but he appreciates the support of All Souls who have already reached out to him. We hold Peter Haynes this morning as he mourns the death of his uncle Eugene, who transitioned from life on December 10th at the age of 84. We hold Alex Wilson, who lost his mother, Patty, to COVID in a Binghamton, New York senior community on December 4th. We hold Chris Milner, whose father, Jim, died after 5 weeks of hospice for pancreatic cancer on December 6th. Chris shared that his father passed peacefully with his wife of 56 years and 2 children at his side, singing him home. We hold Laura Saylor, whose sister Janice was found dead in the home where she lived alone with multiple health issues. And finally, we mourn the death of Bob Bloomfield. After 4 months of home hospice and recurrence of cancer in the fall of 2019, we especially hold in our community's love Barbara McCann, Bob's loving and devoted spouse. A Zoom celebration of Bob's life is pending for January or February of 2021. Friends, in the silence that follows, I invite you to speak aloud the names of the people or the places you're carrying in your heart this morning, for sorrowful or for celebratory reasons. Let us continue in prayer. Great Spirit beyond comprehension, infinite love beyond all measure, deepest silence that yields every sound, we gather this morning to remember and to celebrate the beauty of simple things. An innocent newborn, a crescent moon, a lotus blossom, a burning candle. It is so easy to lose touch with life's gifts, so easy to get lost in the unrelenting stresses and unrelenting dramas and unrelenting violences of our broken, breaking world. Let us find in our shared and individual practices of the Spirit, in our shared and individual efforts to reclaim center, let us find a mechanism to simplify. Let us see in the complexity and the chaos a single thread connecting us. Let us hear in the cacophony and the confusion a single tone beneath the noise. Let us feel in our aloneness and in our fragility a single sense that we are held. Great spirits beyond comprehension, infinite love beyond all measure, deepest silence that yields every sound. We gather this morning in you. Help us to remember and help us to celebrate the gift of simple things. Ashe and Amen. Our reading this morning is This Holiday Season by Ade A. Kraba. Let this holiday season be a time for engaging heart to heart. For those who, like the innkeeper, turned us away, for holidays that didn't live up to our executions, for ghosts of Christmas past that haunt us, for those who have us gifts but never their presence, for gifts we yearned for but did not receive, for things we received but never wanted, for those who offered us cheer when we needed comfort, for those who offered us love that we could not accept, for those we rejected, offering no room in our homes or our hearts, for ourselves who could not give through fear, for the times we saw a star in the east but failed to follow it, for times we followed the star but it did not lead where we hoped, for miracles gone unnoticed, for wise men and women whose gifts we rejected. All these we remember, we forgive, we love. In doing so, may we be granted an abiding peace.
The bartering began with a pair of electric foot massaging, hot pink, fuzzy gopher slippers. Or at least I think it was a gopher. It was kind of hard to tell. But it was one of those gifts that was so weird that no one really needed, but everyone wanted. Okay, All Souls, maybe I should explain. It happened during the annual staff holiday Yankee Swap White Elephant gift exchange. Now, I'd imagine that most of you know the rules of this game, but let me remind you how it's supposed to be played. Everybody brings a gift, places it on the table. Everyone's assigned a random number. When your number comes up, you have a choice. You can either pick a new gift or you can steal someone else's gift. Now, the next person has the choice to pick up a new gift or steal someone else's, and so it goes. But the rules are that you can only steal another person's gift once. But in this case, the electric foot massaging fuzzy pink gopher slippers became the gift of the party. Everyone kept swapping and stealing it back and forth until it finally landed with a newly married staff member who desperately wanted it for his bride because he was convinced that she would just love it. It was a lot of fun, but I gotta say, I am sure glad I didn't wind up with those electric foot massaging, hot pink, fuzzy gopher slippers because, like many gifts I've received over the years, they would likely be relegated to the back of the closet. 'Tis the season where we turn in earnest, some of us, not all of us, but many of us turn in earnest to gift buying and gift giving. Now, I don't know about you, but I find shopping for gifts pretty anxiety producing. I ask myself questions like, do they already have something similar? What if they don't like it? And what if they have to put on their ritual, oh, this is so lovely face, so as to not make me feel bad? Is the gift too cheap? Is it too expensive? Is it not the person's taste? Is it more of a reflection of me than of the recipient? These kinds of thoughts at the holiday season spin me into a spiral vortex of Scrooginess, just wanting to say bah humbug to the whole ordeal. And then I get sort of on my high and mighty theological horse. I wonder, how did we go from this story about the Magi bringing somewhat inappropriate gifts to a newborn Jesus to advertisements about waking up on Christmas morning to find a new car in your driveway, or giving the gift of a diamond encrusted cross necklace? What's that really got to do with the meaning of gift giving? So, to dive into these questions, I went back and looked at a classic book that explores the meaning of gift giving. And that book was by Lewis Hyde, originally published under the title The Gift, but it was the subtitle that really grabbed my attention. It was Imagination and the Erotic Life of Property. Hyde's book is an anthropologically deep dive into rituals around gift giving in different cultures. But he opens his book with the story of when the Puritans first encountered Native Americans. The Puritans discovered that Native Americans did not have a concept of private ownership of property or objects. So the Puritans would accept a gift from the Native Americans and keep it. The Native Americans would insist that the gift be given back or given away. So in other words, Native Americans recognize that the gifts circulate. When you connect with another person, you have an opportunity to be generous by sharing a gift that was previously shared with you. However, those English settlers kept the Native Americans' gift as their new possessions, completely missing the circulation idea. And this, Hyde writes in his book, is the origins of the racist term Indian giver. Hyde continues, he says, quote, "The Indian understood a cardinal property of the gift. Whatever we have been given is supposed to be given away and not kept. Or if it is kept, something of similar value should move on in its stead, the way a billiard ball may stop when it sends another scurrying across the felt, its momentum transferred. You may keep your Christmas present," he continues, "but it ceases to be a gift in the true sense unless you have given away something else. As it is passed along, the gift may be given back to the original donor, but this is not essential. In fact, it is better if the gift is not returned, but instead is given to some new third party. The only essential is this, the gift must always move." So what does it mean to say that the gift must always move? Am I talking about the practice of regifting as an antidote to the overabundance of stuff in many of our lives? Does it mean we get to unload unwanted items on other people under the guise of frugal gift giving? No. The impulse to give is rooted in something deeper than the practical accomplishment of a mandatory seasonal ritual. Gift giving represents the interdependent web of life within which we live our lives. The gift of the womb, which gives us life. The gift of the slap on the back that invites our first breath of air, which connects us with all living things. The gift of milk to sustain us. Our lives begin through giving. We give a part of ourselves away with every breath we exhale. Throughout our lives, we are all in possession of the most important gift that you can give. No matter what you buy or wrap to give away this season, there is one gift you must offer that will always be assured of moving. That gift is you. So amidst the advertisements and flurry to find the perfect gift, either out of ritual habit or to show our love and affection, I think we do forget that simple truth that we are the gift to one another, and it's up to us to use whatever gifts we have to do our part in creating this great chain of giving that keeps the world moving. In Hyde's book, The Gift, he describes another form of Indian giving in tribal communities in the Pacific Northwest, where the same gift was given and given back among the tribes in adjacent territories as a socially binding ritual, as a gesture of peaceful living side by side, and as a representation of the larger world in which the tribes lived within the great spirit that created them all. I'll bet each one of us remembers a gift that we once received that meant so much more than the physical gift itself. A gift that inspired us to give back, to keep the gift moving. I recall one such gift in my own life. When I was in college, I was obsessed with making art from collected mannequin heads, the kind that, display hats. Well, that fall I was visiting my parents and I had to show I brought my favorite mannequin head to show my mother. While getting into my car, I accidentally dropped the mannequin head and it broke into pieces. And I broke into tears. That broken head was a symbolic of everything that had gone wrong for me that semester. A breakup, a bad grade, a broken friendship. Well, I picked up the pieces and showed them to my mom and told her my sad story and then forgot about it. But that Christmas morning, I opened up a hat box under the tree to discover that my mother, herself an artist, had taken that mannequin head and had glued the pieces back together and then had painted it in such a way that I could not discern the broken places. Now, I no longer know or care what happened to that restored mannequin head, but I will always remember the gift of her artistry and the love behind it. Such gifts require no reciprocity, only that whatever kindness has been extended to us, whatever generosity of spirit we ourselves have experienced, it is incumbent upon us to then extend that to others. I remember that gift not only because it's come to represent all that my parents gave to me that I try to pass on in the way that I live my life. I remember it also because my world was broken that Christmas, and my mother's gift helped put it back together. It's healing behavior, says Adrienne Marie Brown, to look at something so broken and see the possibility and wholeness in it. That's a tangible gift that has long outlived the actual object. And at a time when our world seems so broken, we have to ask ourselves whether the gifts that we give are part of the glue that help restore wholeness and healing to our world. So maybe the most important question for us to ask this season is not what gift will I give, but rather, what will you do with your gifts? Former president of Star King School for the Ministry and former minister, adjunct minister of this congregation, the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker, wrote a poem which asks this very question. When I encountered this poem many years ago, I had no idea what gifts I could possibly offer the world at the time. And that's why these words struck home. This poem has become a gift of sacred text that I come back to again and again. She writes, your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting, all of these can serve to feed the hungry, to bind up wounds, to welcome the stranger, to praise what is sacred, to do the work of justice, to offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? You know, one of the things I love about church is that it is here where you get to offer your gift to each other and to the world. When you teach our children in religious education, you are offering something of yourself that far surpasses the amount of time you spend in the classroom. When you sing in the choir or Jubilee Singers, when you serve on a committee, when you teach a class, when you make the coffee or hold open the door, when you crunch the numbers, when you stand in protest, when you insist on just justice, whatever gifts you bring, these are the gifts that extend deep into one another's lives. This year, we have received some legacy gifts from those who have died, gifts which will expand our ability to minister to, among, and beyond the walls of this church. And it is my intention that before I leave All Souls, we will have a robust, planned giving committee to receive, thank, and properly celebrate such gifts, which we now are the beneficiaries. Because I believe in not only the financial health of an institution, but because this is one example of the gift that moves. It requires our stewardship and our care. What will you do with your gifts? Dr. Parker answers her own question by saying, quote, choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, she writes, a moving forward into the world with intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. If somehow in the midst of all that is broken, we can see unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery, we will have enough. If the only gift we pass on this season is patience with ourselves and to show kindness to one another, it will be enough. Parker continues, and while there is injustice or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting that which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage. After a bitter election, after an administration's response to a global pandemic that borders on criminal neglect, after the horrifying murder of George Floyd and many other lives lost to state violence, we may be tempted to say there is no reason to bless the world. We may be tempted to use our gifts to rage at all that is wrong. And yet Parker reminds us of those who choose to bless the world, live as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage. So it's not about just giving this book or that one, but which parts of yourself will you freely and easily and with delight give away to the world? She continues, the choice to bless the world can take you into solitude, to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. And I have to say, one of the gifts that I found as a result of so much time in solitude and quarantine is how important faith is at times like these. Early on in the pandemic, there was great fear that this pandemic would finally put the nails in the coffin of institutional religion. Without our ability to gather in person, the church will certainly wither and die. That has not happened. And while the pandemic has revealed so much ugliness, so much economic wealth and hoarding, it's at the same time has revealed the power and grace of faithful people to look at something so broken and see the possibility and wholeness within it. Because just beneath the surface, something strong, something invincible, something true, some new, as of yet undiscovered gift is already moving, awaiting its season, silently preparing to erupt into some fresh, newly impossible adventure, and asks us this question, what will you do with your gifts? Parker concludes the poem with these words. The choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility, waiting. What will you do with your gifts this holiday season? Give them away. Keep them moving. Choose to bless the world. Amen. And may it be so. I want to take a moment to acknowledge one of the gifts that All Souls has received, and that has been the ministry of Reverend Tony Coleman. Although you, Tony, will be at next Sunday's service and you'll be providing one last sermon on the 27th of December, we thought it was important to recognize the many gifts that you have brought to All Souls. So while I'm talking, I'm inviting members to write their own notes of appreciation to Reverend Tony in the chat. And Tony, I'm going to address you now. Working with you as a colleague has been a great joy. You have a scholar's mind, a poet's heart, an artist's eye, and a pastor's presence, which has been the source of inspiration, comfort, and stability during your tenure with us. Your sermons are memorable in their depth and breadth. Even more than that, you have brought your full self to this ministry, even when you have physically moved away from DC. I can speak for my colleagues, the staff, and the church when I say I wish we could keep you a lot longer. But we are so proud and pleased of your work, and to know that the good people of First Congo and Memphis are just as thrilled to have you among them. So Tony, I want to just turn over now some time to you to say a few words to the congregation.
Thank you dearly and so much, Kathleen, for your words and for your leadership right now during so much transition. And hello again, All Souls. What an incredible time this has been. The world was a different place, to say the least, in July of 2019 when I first came on staff. This church was a different place. I can hardly believe how much has happened, the changes, the blessings, the storms we've all endured together in what is a relatively small amount of time. Between now and December 31st, my last day with All Souls, there will be many opportunities for connecting and saying farewell, for Thanksgiving and memory sharing. For now, though, let me say to you all, thank you. Thank you for the gifts of companionship and faith, the gifts of presence and trust, the gifts of creativity and hope. You have sustained and blessed me as a congregation, just as I have worked to serve you as a minister. I look forward to the rest of our time together, All Souls, as we prepare for a new year in different places. So here's to a blessed next couple of weeks together. Thank you and much love.
Thank you, Reverend Tony. May you go forth from this time in your life and bless the world with your ministry and your presence. And we leave you with the gift of love.
Though I may speak with bravest heart and have the gift to all inspire and have not wrought my words on earth as sound Though I may give all I possess, and striving so my love profess, but not be hid by love within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control, our spirits dawn to be made whole. Let inward love guide every need, our empty worship and
Hello, All Souls. I am so glad to see all of your smiling faces this morning. As my colleagues would say, my jam are people. I love people. I love hearing about their families and learning about their journeys and laughing with them and crying with them, and sometimes just sitting in silence with them. At my core, I am magnetically drawn to that certain thing that connects us. And boy, oh boy, does that certain thing come through at All Souls. I've said it time and time again. There is such a beauty and power in the connection we share in our dedication to building and nurturing beloved community. It is a gift that we are sharing in big ways and in small ways, but it is surely a gift worth paying forward one person, one step at a time. It's been a really hard and challenging year. There are so many in our community who need the church now more than ever. We feel that need and we are answering that call, but we cannot do it without you. So if you are able, please fulfill your annual pledge by month's end. Your gift to All Souls will allow the staff to continue to do the good and very important work of taking care of that thing, the ties that bind us to one another in spirit and in compassion. May our hearts expand when we give of ourselves one to the other. Today's offering will now be collected. The giving information will be on your screen and in the chat. Thank you.
With faith to face our challenges, with love that casts out fear, with hope to trust tomorrow, we accept this day as a gift, the gift that it is, a reason for rejoicing. Go in peace this day. Our worship has ended. Let our service begin.
Thank you.